to apologize to anybody I have let down. This is kind of hard to understand, but sometimes you can try so hard at something. Sometimes you can be so prepared and still fail. And every time you fail, it's painful. It causes sadness. And especially when I see failure every time in me, it causes disappointment. I often say a man's character is not judged after he celebrates a victory, but what he does when his back is against the wall. And no matter how great the setback is, how severe the failure is, you never give up. You never give up. You pick yourself up, you brush yourself off, you get up, move on, and overcome. And that is what I believe. So there are those who are offended by my actions, that they might have lost faith in me. I absolutely respect your decisions to do so, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking to those people who still believe in me. Today, I speak to these who still proudly stand by my corner, like my family, friends, and my teachers. You have not given up on me, and I will not give it up on you. I'm not perfect, and I know, but I'm still a human being. The person that has never given up on me, the person that gave me everything, he loves me, and I will never give up on him. Let me give you a clue. He made us all. Well, there were times in my life where I was really sad. I felt like giving up, like my life was over. When I was 6 years old, when I needed my dad the most, they killed him. I thank God for him keeping me alive. I fell all the time, but I always stand up and overcome that obstacle. No matter how big or small it is, no matter how hard it is, never give up. And I know I'm not perfect, but thank my teachers, friends, and my family for everything they have given me. Never give up. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today I'm going to tell you why I love reading. It all started when I was a baby. My mom and dad want me to have their son be a great reader, so they read to me every night. As I got older, they taught me how to read. When I was able to read on my own, they would still read to me every night. After they got done reading to me, they allowed me to read a book by myself. I'd fall asleep reading my book, and my parents had many pictures of me falling asleep with the book literally in my face. The reason why I love reading is because it makes me feel that I'm in a whole new world. If I'm mad at something, it calms me down. Sometimes when I'm really reading well, I can picture what's going on in the book, like a movie in my head. Plus, when I'm in the zone, I can block out everything else except my head. Occasionally, I read when I can't sleep, or I want to read a real good book at night when it's nice and quiet. But that does not mean I only read at night. I read at school, in the car, at home, and practically anywhere. To some kids, reading is boring and they feel it's a waste of time. But to me, it's better than video games. The best part about reading is that you have all types of books. There's fiction, nonfiction, science fiction, realistic fiction, autobiographies, and biographies. So much history in our world is in books. Although, in a sense, reading can be boring. So, for instance, in class, the social studies book is boring to me. And however, to other people, it's interesting and fun. Some people even think it's torture. Some people have their different opinions on what they like. For instance, video games. Some people prefer to play than read. To me, reading is one of the best things to do in the world and one of my favorite hobbies. What I really want is for my sister to read as well as myself. It will help her in the future. Sometimes she's not as enthusiastic as me, or as much as I would like her to be. She will get to that point like I did one day. All I can do right now is offer to help her with words when she's reading or to help her with words, what they mean. That's all I can do for now. You know how the saying goes, reading is knowledge, and knowledge is power. And that's why I love reading.
My title is Duck, and my topic is bullying. You may be wondering what duck means. Well, duck has a few meanings, but the one I'm talking about is just cool. It means designated ugly fat friend. Teenagers come up with such cool things like the word duck. Many people get bullied. Most of them are female teenagers. I chose bullying as my topic because I have been bullied before. It was horrible. No one was my friend except one girl. She still is my friend until this day. She made me happy and confident when I was being bullied. But this is not about me. This is about all the kids that are victims of bullying or were bullied. First, I will talk about the bully. Normally, the bully is bullying because they have been bullied before, and they want others to feel their pain. Or something personal, like arguing or a divorce between the parents. Instead of making others feel bad, go talk to someone like a guidance counselor or a close friend. Next, let's talk about the victim or victims. Lots of kids get bullied for something very dumb. Most of the time, you lose all your friends during bullying, and that just makes you more discouraged. And sometimes, if you can't handle the pressure, they will cut themselves, or even worse, attempt or commit suicide. I'm going to tell you now, that is never the answer. Instead, go talk to someone. And finally, the bystanders, who see what's happening but don't take action. They don't take action for mostly one reason. They are scared to confront the bully. Don't be scared. Take action, not just for the victim's good, but for yours too. Well, that's my story. Hopefully it made a difference with your lives or a friend. Also, all you victims out there, stay strong. You'll get through it.
Picture this. It's a Sunday night and you are lying in bed dreading the moment you walk through the schools of your office doors. Feel familiar? Well, sooner or later, Mom will always have to drag me out of the house and drive me to school, you think. If only we had some more rights. After all, transitioning to middle school is a big privilege, a big accomplishment, and a big opportunity to spark an interest and show our true colors. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Now I actually want to go to school. There's been many fights for independence throughout history, including the American Revolution. That is why I decided to speak up for the 6th graders' right to an education, social rights, and behavioral rights for students in the present, and for goal and career setters in the future. Because, after all, everyone will be in middle school sooner or later, so let's make it our time to shine. First and foremost, and probably most important, is the opportunity of having good academics, which includes taking classes you only need. For example, if you were in a basic reading class and you really needed an advanced reading class, some teachers and principals won't accept this change. But what they don't know is that it is a chance of a lifetime to get a successful career. You need to practice one skill until you master it to become qualified for a good occupation that will lead you far in life. This also goes along with homework. If you are an expert in the subject, you should have the privilege to choose if you need the extra practice. We know as homework. Dun, dun, dun. Also, 6th graders should have the freedom to listen to music if it helps them complete work. It is proven by my own experience that classical music helps many people study. It actually helps some people focus better. Furthermore, for social rights, schools are known for a strict rule against phones and other devices. But some teachers are more open than others. They let students use their technology for educational purposes, such as research or online presentations. Also a big debate in newcomers is why 6th graders are not eligible for participating in sports. I believe 6th graders should have the decision to choose at least one sport if they maintain good grades, but should have the right to quit if it becomes too much to their schedule. Besides, if you want to do band, that means no PE. So how else are you going to get in that extra exercise? Plus, it's just plain old entertaining, and you probably have something better to do than sitting on the couch and watching TV. Lockers and class seatings are also arguments that surface between students and staff. As far as behavioral rights go, dress codes happen to pop up very often. Hundreds of people think there never should have been a dress code and think that the rules don't apply to them because it's a free country. In my opinion, I believe people should wear to impress, but while being modest as well. Gum and recess are also a big concern. As well as the music I mentioned before, gum helps students focus. You can concentrate better at the task at hand and block out your surroundings. And sometimes you just need to chillax with friends and have some me time. If only we had recess. Moreover, some milestones are just too important to miss. So let's make it enjoyable so we can remember for years to come and appreciate all the good friends and all the good times we had.
Today I'd like to talk about a two-time gold medalist. Her name is Gabby Douglas. Gabby is my #1 role model because I think I'd be just like her one day. She was born December 31st, 1995. The first time she could do gymnastics is when she was 3, and she could do a perfect cartwheel with the assistance of her big sister Ariel. Gabby was a daredevil, so she took gymnastics to the next level. She did a one-handed cartwheel perfectly. A few days later, Gabby asked her mom if she can go on gymnastics, but her mom said no because they were running low on money. But that didn't stop Gabby, so she kept on begging and begging, and her mom finally said yes. Gabby began gymnastics training at the age of 6. That day of her first gymnastics class, she had super fun. Because of that, she wanted to go to the Olympics. When she walked out of her gym, she saw a sign. It said, Olympic coach Li Yang Chow coming next week. Then Gabby got super excited. When Olympic coach Li Yang Chow walked in, Gabby freaked out. Then she ran up to him and said, I want to be in the Olympics. The coach said, sure, if you are willing to do your best. And Gabby said, I will. Gabby was so hardworking that in the next week, she gained 10 pounds, and it was all muscle. She was so proud until one day, she was 14, and Li Yang Chow had to leave to go to his country. Then when Gabby asked her mom if she could go to his country, but her mom looked at her crazy because they can't afford to go to another country. But the family agreed for Gabby to go to a different family just temporarily, so she can train and be on the Olympic tryouts. When she got to her new home, she went to the gym to practice. Gabby did a move on the floor wrong, so she strained her hamstring, so that had to rest for a little bit. But there was a bright side to her straining her hamstring. The bright side for Gabby to strain her hamstring is she can practice her hard bar routine. The day of the Olympic tryouts were here, and she was so nervous that she actually told her mom she wanted to go home, but her mom wouldn't let her quit now. So she did it, and she could go to the Olympics, and Gabby's family was so proud. I hope you enjoyed my speech and inspired you to do whatever you want to do in your life. And if you fail, just keep trying.
I admit it, I have an addiction. It's not an illegal addiction, so don't worry. I'm not underage drinking. In fact, most of you in this room have this addiction, but you didn't really know it. This addiction is called being a sweetaholic. Now you're probably thinking, well, that's not even a real word. She just made that up. Trust me, it's a real word. I have proof too. I looked it up in the online dictionary and it was sitting right in front of my eyes. It's a noun that means you're addicted to sweets. If you're a sweetaholic, you have to meet all of this criteria to actually be a sweetaholic. First of all, you don't care in any way, shape, or form what dessert looks like. It could be lumpy or mushy, you don't care, you just eat. Also, you love most all of the sweets that are given to you. This last reason is very important. The sweetaholic thinks of what's for dessert rather than what's for dinner. I mean, you could ask both. If you're asking what's for dessert on a daily basis, you're definitely a sweetaholic. Have you ever thought of the bad things about being a sweetaholic? Well, there's maybe 100 answers to that. Of course, I'm not
going to give you 100 answers, but I will give you a few. First of all, when you're a sweetaholic, your body wants way too many sweets until you get way too many sugar rushes. Trust me, I've had a sugar rush before and it is not very pretty. Also, sweets have very high sugar and calories for your body to handle. They're also very bad for your teeth and could give you cavities. I've had 2 cavities before and they're not very fun. All of these reasons show how horrible sweets are for your body. It's in the sweets that make them so addictive. I think I know the answer to this question we all need to know. Maybe it's that sweet, tasty sugar that rushes to your taste buds and activates to your brain to make you think, yummy. This reason I told you happens with every addiction, whether it's an alcoholic or a sweetaholic. You better watch out for addictions. I need help handling my addiction, so if anybody has any suggestions, I'm all ears.
How many of you wear lipstick, or mascara, sunscreen, or even nail polish? Thousands of animals are killed to create these items. People don't only hunt, they like to eat. People can cause a lot of damage to the ocean and the creatures that call it home. Years ago, people slaughtered whales for their blubber to make lipstick. Of course, my lipstick is always whale-free. But this is no laughing matter. Laws were finally made to protect whales from this type of thing. Now, whaling is against the law in most places. Thank goodness. However, whales are not the only sea creature in danger. Fish scales are used in mascara. Yuck. Shark liver is used to make sunscreen and lip balm. There are many people who do not respect the ocean. The animals and plants that live there. Trash can be very harmful to sea life. A perfect example is the plastic rings that hold water bottles and soda cans. These things can get wrapped around birds and fish. They get wrapped around their necks and it can suffocate them. Another thing that hurts the ocean is oil spills. People drill for oil and accidents happen. In 2010, in the Gulf of Mexico, BP oil was drilling for oil. After an explosion, oil began to pour out of the earth for 3 months before they finally stopped it, but the damage had been done. Here we are, 5 years later, and scientists are still studying how much damage was done to the ecosystem. When you go to the beach, remember, even if you can't see it, the ocean is full of life. We need to protect our oceans now to make sure the animals are still there in the future.
Video games are often accused of leading to violent behavior. But what if I told you playing video games can actually make you a lot smarter and teach you important skills that are needed for the 21st century? First and foremost, playing video games can teach critical thinking skills. For example, 2 games called Tiny Brains and Portal 2 can have many puzzles that stimulate your brain and immerse you in the game. And some games even have puzzles that can relate to real-life problems. Research shows that playing games can encourage creative solutions and adaptations. This shows how people can critically think and learn by playing everyday video games. Secondly, video games teach problem-solving and decision-making skills. Naturally, games give you tasks and objectives with goals. But usually, you have many ways to complete the goals. This teaches people problem-solving skills. The decision-making part comes in when you get to choose how to solve the problems. And sometimes all your choices in the game can change the course and outcome of it. And last but certainly not least, educational video games will revolutionize the way we learn and will stimulate and will exercise our minds and imaginations. The case in point is an educational video game entitled Making History. The game lets players take control of colonies, regions, and armies to win the World War and create a giant immersive city. Some of the game mechanics are exploring the giant lands, constructing facilities, and managing a giant government and natural wildlife system. These educational video games will help students learn in innovative ways. They will aid in preparing students to become college and career ready through teamwork and technology in classrooms. So far, those who think video games are bad, that's what they said about rock and roll. The world continues to change how we communicate, and schools will benefit from incorporating video game technology into their already existing project-based learning classroom curriculums. The possibilities are endless.
Fourth and fifth graders. I'm sure that in your classrooms there were some excellent speeches, and the job was really hard to choose just one student to represent your class. So you can imagine the job that the judges have of choosing a first, second, and third place winner. Boys and girls, all of you that did a Tropicana speech in your classrooms as well, you should give yourself a pat on the back. That is not an easy thing to do. And those of you that presented for us today, thank you so much. Excellent job.